What is your darkest secret? When I was 2, my parents got a divorce after my dad had an affair with this ugly skeleton woman. He got her pregnant when my mother was 8 months pregnant with my brother. My dad got married to this woman, and they had a little girl. My dad would have me and my sister every other weekend or when he could be bothered. Every time I was there, my wife would bathe me and play with my penis. She would tell me my dad's was so much bigger and I'm never going to get a girlfriend and that I might as well turn gay. She would throw cigarettes in the bath with me and even stick her fingers in objects that were the things in my anus, saying she was preparing me for when I'm older. And one time, I remember I was vomiting in the car. When we returned to the house while my dad went to clean it, she would force tablets down my throat, pushing them down with her skeleton fingers, which resulted in me throwing up. She forced one tablet which was blue on me when I was 4, and I had an erection when she was bathing me and playing with me, saying the same shit she always did, and that one time even rubbed it on her vagina. This continued until I was 5 when my dad decided he didn't want to bother with any of us. Throughout my life, I was insecure about myself and had no value on sex or my body. I lost my virginity at 13 and had sex with 40 people by the time I was 16. I was always insecure about my penis size, my looks, who I was, no matter how many people complimented me. However, to this day, I never let anyone go near my bum, not even touch a cheek. I buried my insecurities between other people's legs, which boosted my confidence for that day, but the next I had to find another if not the same person. I became a piece of crap, a user, a manipulator, a liar, and this evil person. However, I always wanted to help others who were down. About 3 years ago, I got someone pregnant and we went through a rough patch as we only knew each other for 3 months. And in a desperate need for guidance, stupidly, I reached out to my dad, hoping he could help guide me. Well, he invited me over and we had a chat. He told me his wife was dying and was bedridden and has been suffering for years. 5 minutes later, I heard footsteps and it was her. An overwhelming feeling of fear came over me. I was speechless. I began to shake. I felt I needed to cry. Her appearance was skeleton-like before, but she must not have weighed more than 4 stone at this point. She said to me, "Oh my God, it's you, my name. Where have you been hiding all these years? You were my favorite. You used to love me bathing you." At this point, I felt physically sick and I left without a word. My daughter was born in December 2020, and my dad turned up to my house to give me money for the baby. I didn't accept it. He didn't give me anything for 21 years, and I didn't need anything now. Well, a few days later, New Year's Eve, I believe, the witch had died, and so much trauma has lifted off my shoulders, so much pressure and anger gone. It was like I was born as someone else. I became this confident and happy person, and to this day, I believe that someone cured her for the things she did to me, and the birth of my daughter was the last seal which needed to be broken to end her. I'm 29 now and a manager of a care home for people suffering from mental health as well as learning difficulties. With the residents I support, I help them through explaining how I felt when I was suffering, but without saying I felt that way. More of a third person, I guess. I have only told this to my current partner, mother of my daughter and twins on the way, and my therapist. Male. I've been selling my foot pics and videos pretending to be female for years. My dad sexually assaulted some underage girls and killed himself with a gun before facing his charges. It's not really a secret, but I don't like telling people because it gets really pitiful reactions that make me feel uncomfortable and somehow guilty. I was pregnant at 18 by my father. No one in my life knows. I moved away. I went into labor at 37 weeks. She was perfect. She just didn't breathe. They tried for ages. In the end, they put her in my arms and said there was nothing they could do. Throughout my whole pregnancy, I wondered how I could possibly love her given how she came to be. I was so alone and confused. I wished her away on more than one occasion, and then it happened. It hurt so much every day. It's been 29 years, and it still hurts every day. I've never had another child. It's the price I pay for wishing her away. About 16 years ago, my parents, 51 male, 49 female at the time, got a divorce because my mother turned out to be cheating on my father with a 15-year-old she had met in church. Once the divorce was finalized, my father began to date his biological cousin and almost married her. This is the too long don't read version of what happened, but it was a whirlwind of WTF moments for about 3 years as everything came out. To this day, they act like nothing either of them did was wrong. I once was involved in a university black market where they handed me out past exam papers because our professor never hands out one for us to practice. I studied them with a friend of mine. A week after, it was the exact same exam word for word, only the year changed. I memorized the answers off by heart. I finished in 45 minutes, effed around, and pretended to think for 2 more hours to avoid getting caught. I got a 95% in an engineering exam with a poker face. I'm a victim of human trafficking. Between the ages of about 3 to 7, my mother would take me to the next town over and hand me over to a pedophile. I would be there a couple of days at a time, and when she would come and get me, he would hand her a bunch of money. These were my earliest memories. Barely anyone knows. I feel like if people knew, they would see me differently.